Let's have a look at some quite basic change of subject to formula examples which involve some fraction work, which sometimes does cause a few problems. Don't let it put you off. Here we go, y equals x over 3. Got to change the subject of the formula. At the moment y is on its own, y is the subject. I want to change it so x is the subject. So x is over there. How do I get rid of this share by 3? Simply times by 3. Times that by 3 you get x, so you times that by 3. You get 3y. So there you go, 3y equals x. X is on its own, it's the subject. Finished. Easy. Number 2. How about z is equal to 2x over 7, and I want to get x on its own. At the moment z is on its own. I want to get x on its own. Well, you can see I've got to get rid of the 2 and the 7. Do it in 2 stages. I suggest you get rid of the fraction first. So let's get rid of the fraction. Over 7, share by 7. Let's times by 7. Times that by 7, you get 2x. Times that by 7, you get 7z. So let's get rid of the awkward fraction. But I don't want 2x, I want 1x. How do I go from 2x to 1x? Same as you do with equations, you'd share by 2. So you share the other side by 2. So you get 7z share by 2. End of question. Easy. X is on its own again. Let's try a third one. How about this one here? 5x over 2 is equal to 3y over 7. And this time I want to get x on its own. Well, at the moment you can see that neither side is a letter on its own. So neither side has a subject. That's fine. Some formulae are written like that. It doesn't matter. But I can manipulate it to get just x on its own if I want. Now x is on the left. There it is. It's got a 5 stuck onto it. I don't want that there, so I've got to get rid of that at some point. But it's also over 2. I don't like that at all because it's a fraction. Now if you notice in this question we've got a fraction on the other side as well. If I was you, to make life as easy as possible for yourself, the first thing I would do in a question like this is actually get rid of the over 2 there, but I'd also get rid of that over 7 because that will make things a bit easier for you if you get rid of all the fractions in the first place. So let's do that. Let's get rid of both fractions. Times by 2. Times that by 2, you just get 5x. If you times that by 2, remember how you times a fraction by 2. If I had a fraction 1/7 and I said let's times it by 2, the answer would be 2/7. It's like saying 1 cat times 2, 2 cats. 1 dog times 2, 2 dogs. 1/7 times 2, 2/7. That's how it works. So you end up just leaving the 7 alone on the bottom and saying 1 times 2 is 2 on the top. So if I want to take this fraction and I want to times it by 2, you leave the over 7 unchanged. That doesn't change. Instead of having 3y over 7, you have 6y over 7. You just double the top line. 6y over 7, 6y/7. So we get to there. But although the 2 has disappeared as a fraction, I've still got this over 7. Now I don't like that over 7. I'm going to get rid of that fraction as well. Okay, so the first thing is get rid of both those awkward fractions. So I'm going to times both sides by 7. Times that by 7, you get 35x. If you times that by 7, you just get 6y. So we get to there. But I don't want 6y. And I don't want 35x. What I want is a single x. Well, okay, I've got to get rid of the 35 that's stuck onto the x. So what I need to do, I may have run out of space here at the bottom of the board, so I'll go up here to finish this question off. I'm going to say now let's just share that by 35. So 35x share by 35, you get 1x, and therefore you take the 6y and you share that by 35 as well. And there's your basic answer. 6y over 35. Yes, if you wanted to, you could cancel that because you might try and find a number that goes into 6 and a number that goes into 35. Well, if you think about it, 2 doesn't go into that, and 2 doesn't go into that, and 5 doesn't go into either of them. In fact, I don't think it will cancel, so there's no point going any further. But if it would cancel, that's what you should do. You should cancel 2s or 3s or whatever. Okay, how about number 4? Let's do something like this. How about 8z over 9 is equal to 2y over 5, and I want to get y on its own. Okay, this normally causes people all sorts of problems. Don't let it put you off. Y is on the right hand side. At the moment there are no subject of formula at all, but y is on the right. I want to get y on its own. First of all, I would say I've got both these fractions to deal with. Let's get rid of those awkward fractions. I'll deal with the 2 on the y later. Deal with these fractions. I'll deal with the share by 9. I'm going to times both sides by 9. Times that by 9, you just get 8z. The share by 9 disappears. If I'm going to times this by 9, well, it's not a 9 on the bottom. If it was a 9 on the bottom, the 9 on the bottom would just disappear, leaving you the top. But it isn't a 9. So what I do is I leave the 5 alone, and now I say 2y times 9 is 18y. So instead of 2y over 5, you get 18y over 5. That's dealt with the 9. Let's deal with the 5. I times by 5. Times that by 5, you get 18y. So I times 8z by 5. 8z's times 5, you get 40z's. So there you go, I've got rid of all the awkward fractions. Now I can say to you, how do I get rid of the 18 just to leave what I want, which is y, remember? Well, to go from 18y to y, you simply share by 18. So I do the same thing on the other side. You take the 40z and you share that by 18. And there you go, you got 40z over 18 equals y. Now technically that's correct, but like I mentioned in the previous one, you should look out for cancelling. And this one will cancel, because you can see that 2 goes into 40 and 2 goes into 18. So you should share the top and the bottom by 2. If you share the top by 2, you get 20z. Share the bottom by 2, you get 9. So the best answer is 20z over 9. Now, when I'm saying share this by 2, what I'm not doing is I'm not sharing both sides by 2 here. I'm saying share the top by 2. If you share the bottom by 2 as well for a fraction, you're actually not changing the answer. So I don't have to share the other side by 2 as well. Okay? So make sure you understand that. I'm sharing the top by 2, share the bottom by 2. It's called cancelling. I'm not changing the answer. It looks different, but it hasn't changed the answer. So I don't have to share the other side by 2 as well. It's not like when I did this. Share that by 5. Sorry, share this by 35 to get x. So I share the other side by 35. It's not the same as that. What I'm doing here is just cancelling down. Share the top by 2, 20z. Share the bottom by 2, 9. When you do it to the top and the bottom, they're the same thing. So I'm not actually halving the answer at all. It's the same answer. So I don't have to halve that. Okay, that's what we're doing when we cancel. So there you go, y is on its own now, 20z over 9. If you're not sure about that cancelling, then leave it like that. And I'm sure in most questions you'd pick up your full marks. There you go, that's the end of this video on this particular type of fractional change of subject of formula.